Greetings.
Greetings, sir. Let me mark the beginning of this session. Have I coached you before?
Yes.
Cool. I was wondering why I'd already friended you on Discord. So, give me a little refresher. What were you here for last time? What was your MMR before? What is it now? That kind of stuff. Feel free to
All right.
lie for the stream.
I was here last time for just getting coached on support. I was like 1.7k MMR. You coached me, and I just like started going nowhere but up.
Nice.
And now I'm 3.3k MMR.
Nice.
And I reached a little bit of a wall. I'm having trouble going back. I like got up, and now I started losing a little bit again. I'm not sure why, but anyways, that's
Okay.
why I'm here to figure it out.
Cool.
Got some.
Right on. How long ago
I feel
was
like I'm
that?
not
Just
effective.
for the
September.
Okay. Not bad for what, 3 months? That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So you still here for supporting?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna mark that it's second time coaching. Just I think people sometimes want sessions of repeats. So, okay. Cool, man. So you gave me some replays already. Which one did you want me to look at first? The first one or the second
first one?
Okay. Let's pull it up here. I'll make sure I give you my screen too.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Any questions going in, or anything you feel like you already know you need to work on, or you just want me to take it from here?
I think I can't remember if it's the first one or the second one I linked you where I.
Oh, wrong screen. Sorry.
If it was my fault, or if there's something I could do, or really this game was because of the draft. One of them was like this guy drafted a Rubik mid, and I was just like, not what we needed on our team, or something. I think I feel like I always could do more, but
Okay.
sometimes. Yeah, this is the one where it literally was just like I think there's something I wasn't doing that could have maybe assisted us and stopped them from snowballing.
Which one's you? Sorry.
I'm the Yeeter silencer.
Okay. Cool. So level 20 silencer. Okay. Clearly you are a well-versed silencer player. Generally with drafting with supports, like there's not much else to say other than like, you know,
I first picked it.
Yeah, you're gonna first pick, so just pick meta heroes and heroes you're comfortable with. And then generally speaking, the best skill I'd say on a support when it comes to drafting is like knowing what your hero offers to the draft and what it lacks as well. So like when your teammates pick certain heroes, you know how to adjust as best as possible. Like especially in the laning stage, I think that's like a critical analysis. And you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So that's it's like a critical thing to think about, right? So if I asked you right off the bat, you're a level 20 silencer. What's like silencer's strengths and weaknesses in the laning stage? Like name as many as you can.
Well, if the offlaner is a spell spammer, the arcane curse is helpful. He's pretty pokey with his glaives, but he can't really secure many kills just because like the only thing he has is a small slow and silence.
Okay.
That's something, that's most of what I can think of in laning stage on how silencer is effective.
So like a lot of things I think about is how my support hero manipulates the lane equilibrium, whether or not it can secure range creeps for my carry, meaning like if my carry can't get them, nuking the range creep, whether or not I'm survivable in the laning stage. As a support, whether or not I play in front of my carry or I play behind them. These are kind of things that are really important to think about as support, because if you know these things going in, it just makes the lane like way easier to play. I think that I'd say 70% of things or more in the laning stage can be solved by knowing what you're supposed to be doing. The remaining like 30% is like just the mechanical side of it, you know, making sure you execute it properly, cast spells, you know, position properly, all that kind of stuff. But like if I know, you know, I'm supposed to primarily pull in this lane, or I know that my main way of helping him is by distracting their support hero. These kind of things, like it just makes the lane way easier to play as long as I know what I'm looking for. So every support's a little different, and then the difficulty of playing support is a lot of it comes down to your carry hero. Like your support has different skills, right? But your support skills have to you have to think about how they tie in with your with the carry that your teammate chose. So when I look at Jug Silencer, I think very little kill potential. I think, and by the way, I'm going to the laning stage so much. I'm assuming I did this last time too, but I go into the laning stage so much because I feel like that's where main supports lack. Is that what I primarily talked about last time too?
You did, yeah.
Okay.
It was like you make the most impact 15 minutes or less.
Yeah, like past that in the game, like if we get you there to the point where you're helping the lane stage as much as possible, then we can start worrying about like proper warding and stuff. But yeah, most of your impact is setting your cores up for success, especially in your bracket. You know, at that point, you're kind of all your job is to kind of play team fights correctly. Because the stuff like the dead lane and taking fights on the right part of the map is really dictated by your cores. So if your cores have no idea what they're doing, then you kind of just have to press buttons correctly in fights. So you have a ward, you have a sentry. You're against most likely what, a Sand King Pudge? No, Sand King Slark. What's going on here? Let's see.
I think it will. I actually can't remember. We'll
Okay.
see when they show up.
Okay, so Sand King. Okay. So I think one of the biggest things I don't like about what my supports will do as well is if I have you in lane, I need you to be doing something that I'm not doing. So what I mean by that is it can be harassing, it can be scouting, it can be like drawing creep aggro for me. Like what I mean by that is like if I am a hero that needs the lane pulled to me because of creep aggro and I'm not safe enough to do it and you're like an undying, you can drag the creeps towards me, you know, for me. I'm just giving you examples of things you can do. So standing behind your carry like this, I really don't like. I think like so notice how I said like, who's in your lane? What's going on here? And so like my first reaction was I need to see who's in my lane, right? So I would be standing over here, or over here. And the reason why I'm not standing like right here is because if it's Sand King Slark and they see you, you might just die. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just giving you a perfect example of things that you can avoid being what I would call an AFK support player. Just meaning that the way I look at it is by standing where you are right here, what are you accomplishing that your carry is not accomplishing? And that's the answer in this case is nothing. And it's theoretically possible at all parts in the laning stage to not be doing this. So we're trying, like, it seems like such a small thing, but it really is important that if you get it down in the first couple minutes, it just gets way better. So, see what I mean here? I hope you see what I'm saying here. So you lay a sentry. ED wards, unfortunate. So this is where you immediately put a sentry on the courier and you use it after your mid laner gets it. That should be an immediate response here. So this is a spot where... Okay. I'm just going to harp on this whole concept in something that you should just really start to grind in your own mind. What are you doing that your carry is not accomplishing? Like, what can you do in this lane that he can't? So if Sand King's just sitting in Sandstorm, what's the one way you can help your Jug?
Pull.
I'm talking, like, if you stay on top of the creeps.
Oh, if I stay on top.
Like, if you're doing what you're doing now, what's the only way you can actually help Jug?
Just help deny.
Yeah.
Creep aggro.
Yeah, hit some creeps. You can't even creep aggro, like, because,
There's
like,
no creep
but okay,
aggro.
he could do that himself, is, like, something I'm trying to say. Remember, this is really important, actually, a skill to do as a support, is what is the carry able to do in this lane? Like, when you say creep aggro, I can help him do that, he can do that already. If he wants the creeps aggroed, he can do it, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't need you to do that. The only thing that you can do here is to help deny creeps. So the reason why I ask you that question, okay, and it's a question you should always be asking yourself, is what am I getting at? You already said it in your initial response. What am I getting at here?
The fact that since I can't do anything, I should be doing something and should go pull.
Yeah, you should just go pull, right? Because, like, if I ask myself, what am I doing in this lane? What am I doing to help this guy? And my answer's nothing. I go pull. It's actually a really straightforward way to tell yourself if you should pull or not. Because right now, so my answer for you is if you're doing nothing, what are you effectively accomplishing right now? Like,
Nothing.
Let's not even talk zero. Like, if you there, you know, I say I weight a support's impact on my lane, not from a scale of 0 to 10, from a scale of -10 to 10. because
Ooh,
can a
soaking
support?
XP if I'm doing
Yeah,
that.
you're soaking XP, so you're at like a -3 right now. Okay, -4, something like that. Okay,
Oh
because
god.
you're actually having a negative impact by existing in this lane. Like that, there are supports where I say on stream, I'm like, this guy, I would actually be having a better lane if he wasn't here. Like, and that's when you're in the negative territory. So like, the reason why I'm saying that, not to be like too harsh or anything, is like, it's really important to recognize these spots. Like, I'm not a perfect support player because I don't play a ton of support. So since I'm not like, I don't know how to word it, like instinctually used to playing support, there's sometimes I catch myself, I'm like, holy shit, I should be pulling or I should be doing this. But that's like the first step, is to be like self-aware of these situations, and you'll start noticing them slightly after it's too late, and then you'll start noticing them when it's on time, and then you'll start doing them correctly. But the first step is being aware that these situations happen. So, like, the minute he kills the sentry, that alarms me as a player. I'm no longer useful here until what? So every game it's different. Like, meaning, if something happens in the lane where you're no longer useful, what makes you useful can always be different. Like, meaning, if you're a support and you're not useful if the lane's up here, because if you walk to harass them, you just feed. That means that the lane, you'll be useful again when the lane's back here. So then you can go pull. In this case, like, you're useless until you get another sentry, right? So that's the circumstance in this one. So I always try to recognize if I'm useful, and then I try to ask myself when I will be useful again if I'm not, and then what I can do in the meantime. So worst case scenario here is if you go over and look at the pull, and it's not there, you honestly should not soak his XP. That's like a big deal, because a lot of your success as a support, and I know I'm going into a long spiel on this, but just bear with me. A lot of your success as a support is dictated upon which core comes out on top in the laning stage. So if you're doing nothing in lane, meaning like you're not able to do anything for whatever reason in any game, the last thing you should do is be negatively impacting your core in the grand scheme of what's the other guy getting and what's my guy getting. You would much rather be level 1 at 5 minutes and your Jug's level 5 to the Sand King level 5 than you be level 3 and have Jug be level 4 and have Sand King be level 5. Like, it's just not good. Like, so you generally speaking, if you're level 1 at 5 minutes, that means you like royally fucked up somehow. Like, you just never flew yourself a sentry, they had the camp blocked, and you just never did anything. But the point is, like, you want, all that matters in terms of your success in this lane is how well Jug's doing compared to Sand King at any given moment. So, and if you're under leveled, generally that's something you can look back on the game and been like, oh, maybe I should have started with a sentry to deward the pull. Maybe I should have pulled extra times here. So a question I don't get to talk about very often is, if you can think of a reason, why would it be better to always pull at the 15-second minute mark on the minute rather than the 45-second mark on the minute when you're pulling the small camp?
Because you can stack. Wait, what?
Stack pulling is pretty much never a thing anymore. You pretty much just
Okay.
single pull all the time.
So why is it better to pull it like immediately
At the 15
1:15?
rather than not just at 1:15, at 3:15, at 4:15. Like, why would you think it's better to pull at 15 rather than 45? I feel like this is something that 6K supports don't understand, and I feel like I have to explain to them. So this is like serving as a PSA,
Is this
but
like
also
a
to help you.
no-brainer, or is this like complex?
It's kind of a no-brainer if you think about it, but like once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, duh. Okay, so the answer is, if you pull at 145, it's not going to stack, right? So the camp's going to come in, you're going to have the creep wave follow you in, and you're going to kill the camp, and then you won't be able to pull until 3:15. So the time between that pull and the next pull is a minute and a half. But if you pull at 1:15, the time between the next pull, you'll kill the camp at like 35 seconds, and then the next pull will be at 3:15 or 2:15. So the time between the first pull, like if you pull at 145, is like a minute and a half. If you pull at 1:15, the time's like 40 seconds.
Oh.
So it's actually a really big deal whenever you're single pulling to pull at 1:15, 2:15, 3:15, 4:15, if possible. So I don't want you to over pull, meaning like the times where you're not supposed to pull based on everything I said is what? When do you not pull?
When the equilibrium is fine?
When you are useful. in the
when you're
lane.
useful.
It's that simple. Like, the reason why I go tell my guy to pull, like in the game I played Anti-Mage Undying against Slardar Dazzle, is my Undying's just like standing on the side of the lane doing nothing because we can't fight them. So like
Yeah, I
one of the
watched that. It
biggest
was
one of the biggest indicators is we can't fight them. I have so many people asking, BSJ, I feel useless as support, what do? You fucking pull. Every time. You just pull. Like, that's all you can do. If you can't fight them, the only thing you can do is try to pull them away from you. So, or pull them away from the jug. You know what I mean? Try to separate them, especially if they're dual laning. So, I know I just went on a very long spiel, but I feel like this applies to the entire laning stage, and it's something to keep in mind here. So, let's see what you continue to do here.
Denied.
Missing top.
Okay. So what did Sand King do here?
he kind of just got away with like being completely safe because of no sentry.
Okay. So. Well, this is true, but let's go back to the idea of, as a support, you should always be doing something your carry can't, okay? So, can your carry be in two places at once?
No.
No. So, how might that apply? It applies to pulling. What else does it apply to?
Fighting.
Okay. What else does it apply to? I'm talking
Farming.
laning stage, minute and a half into the game, dude.
Oh, minute and a half. Oh, he can't be.
Can he farm these creeps and stop the Sand King from side pulling at the same time? No. Can you stop the Sand King from side pulling while your jug's hitting creeps?
Yes.
Okay, good talk. You know, these are examples of things. Your Sand King the Sand King just denies two creeps. Notice how there's two creeps missing?
Oh yeah.
You just side pulled, and you let him do that.
I didn't even catch on to that. He kept doing it over and over
Yeah.
afterwards.
And this is an example of something. Like when people ask what I can be doing as support, like it's important to understand what cores are allowed to do. Like you're preventing. So your first thing is trying to enable your jug to do things he's not used to being able to do. Second thing is to prevent the opponent from doing things that your jug's not able to prevent them from doing. So like your jug can't hit creeps and stop this. Your jug can't, like if there's 2v2, your jug can't go pull and farm creeps. Like that's why you're pulling. That's the reason why the support does these things, because one hero can't do both. And there's lanes where my support just won't pull. It was even my second game today, my Anti-Mage Undying lane. I went and pulled because my Undying wouldn't. And then he fed in the lane because, lo and behold, nobody's allowed to lane when the lane's that far up. I'm like, and I'm the Anti-Mage, he's the Undying, and I'm the one pulling. It's like, what do you know? Like, sometimes as a core, my job is to know what my support should be doing. And if what my support should be doing is necessary, meaning like, it's not like an efficiency thing, it's actually like we can't lane if he doesn't do it, then I'll go do it myself and accept the inefficiency. So that's like something as a core that I can do. I'm not going to go pull the small camp at 115, but if the lane's too far up for me to farm at 4 minutes and my support's not pulling, I'm not going to just sit there accepting it. I'm going to go pull. Okay, so this sentry should have been flown out with the courier here at the very latest. Like, because you should have recognized it immediately. Stacking the small camps, like, very rare. Obviously, if you're walking over and you have time to do it, you go do it, but it's just very rare. And the reason why it's so important to pull at 115, right? Or, like, at 315 with a single pull, is because what happens is, I'm going to paint this picture for you as much as I can. At any minute mark, you pull at 15 when it's a single pull. You pull. The lane... Now, the next creep wave, sorry, the one that's coming, is going to go into your tower. And then your lane's going to come back with your creeps, right? So then, like, these creeps, say you single pull. These creeps are going to live. So these creeps, right here, are going to go to your tower. These creeps are going to live and come here. So what's effectively going to happen now?
It's just gonna push out more.
Okay, it's going to push out more, because now you're going to have a double wave with the one coming here, right? At 330?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So then, the lane's pushing. So what effect does that have? That you have like 6 to 8 creeps, somewhere in that range, while the opponent has 4. How does that affect your jug?
Well, it puts him in a position to like try to fight him a little bit because of the creeps.
Okay.
But also pushes him forward into danger zone of, There could be the Pudge could gank him, or
Does Jug die to that shit?
he won't die. No.
Okay, so it's important to think like, yes, that is a potential thing that affects your
Much
carry,
obliged.
and you need to understand whether or not it does affect that specific carry, right? So in this case, the threat of getting ganked up farther in the lane doesn't apply. If this was like a Drow, sure, you know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
so in this case, that doesn't apply, but that's like an important thing to think about. So now your Jug has...
All because I don't pull at this moment. If I didn't pull,
I'm telling you, if you pull at the 15-second mark in a single pull, this is exactly what's going to happen. Every lane.
Okay.
And I'm trying to make you gauge, like, why this is powerful, so you know, okay? So, let me... it's hard to visualize, and I'd have to go find a specific game, but even my supports don't support properly very often, so... the point is, you'll have 8 creeps, and that will be with the 3:30 creep wave, right? It'll be the 3-minute creep wave and the 3:30 creep wave.
Yep.
Oh, wait, sorry. It'll be with the this 3-minute creep wave and the 3:30. So then what happens is your 3:30 creep wave gets here at 3:45. So now you have double creep wave here at 3:45 against their 1 creep wave. You're following me, right? That's where we're at now. Your Jug has 8 creeps and they have 4. Okay? So what's your next 30 seconds going to look like if you have 8 creeps and they have 4?
it's going to be a lot of pushing forward.
Okay. And so
next
is Sand able to go on you as well if you have 8 creeps and he has 4?
No.
Okay. So that makes you more survivable, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what can you spend the next 30 seconds doing?
Harassing.
Okay. And when do you need to be doing something again? Like, what's your next job if the lane's pushing?
The 3:15 I need to pull again is
4:15, right?
4:15.
Yeah, you were right though. But you need to be back at 4:15 to pull it again. And it's this
So
chain
I'll do
effect.
the fuckery.
This is the best way to handle a solo offlaner, because effectively you'll deny 1 or 2 creeps based on whatever camp this is every time you single pull. You're getting levels from the pull.
So it's good to single pull instead of double pull and completely kill a wave, instead kill like half of a wave and then do that 8 creep thing.
So what this is based on is every lane. So I want to be clear. I'm not telling you to never single pull into this and then pull into here. My opinion is almost every time you stack the small camp, and the reason why I'm telling you not to stack the small camp is the only reason you've been able... What was the only reason you were able to stack this camp?
I just could. It was
You
convenient. I was
missed 2 pulls already. Do you see what I'm saying?
Is that okay?
You see what I'm saying? Like, you should have pulled at 115, and you should have pulled at 215. The only reason you're able to stack this camp is because you didn't pull when you should have. So, like, usually, stack pulling a small camp means you missed something. Usually, okay? So that's the first and foremost thing. Second off, what reason would it be bad to pull from here and then to here? If you single pulled. What
If I single
could you think of? Like, I'm not saying it's always bad. I'm asking, like, what could be bad about it?
Maybe it draws. Well, if it was a dual lane, I don't know. It draws the attention away, and I could die.
Okay, that's true.
Defending-
Absolutely. You're more at threat by being over here, right? Than you are
Yeah.
by being over here. Okay, that's exactly correct. But what about against a solo offlaner?
I don't know.
Can't the Sand King just like walk over Sandstorm this and like farm the creep wave and the big camp at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, so like there are some times where if you're against a solo offlaner where by pulling from here to here, you're just giving him more farm. Like,
If he catches on.
not. How do we play Dota? If you watch, you seem to watch my stream a decent amount. What
Assume
decisions
that
do we
they're
make?
smart.
Assume they will make the right play, knowing what that play is, and then punishing them if they don't make the right play. Like, my example would be if he's supposed to be aggressive on me as a carry, and he's not being aggressive, I'm going to do whatever I wasn't allowed to do because he should be being aggressive. But I'm not going to assume he's bad, make an aggressive play, and then he's aggressive back and kills me, right? Like that, I'm gonna, like... So say just say I'm some fragile carry, and I know that if the guy plays aggressive on me and I step out of position, I die. If he doesn't play aggressively, then I'm going to start harassing him a lot more because I know he's not going to try to kill me. Like, I just know that. But I'm not going to, like, assume that until he's proven it to me. That's my point, though, is always assume he'll make the right play. Like, don't say, I'm going to do this and then this, and hope the Sand King doesn't walk over and sandstorm it. Like, that should not be how you think about it. It's okay if you, in your mind, say, I don't think he can punish me for doing this, and then you do it, and then he does punish you. And that's something I still learn from occasionally. Like, sometimes I do a laning stage decision that I look like a complete fucking moron because I just die, or I give the guy, like, 4 free creeps, or I lose 70% of my health, and I'm like, oh, I thought that would go differently. Like, this is just something that you never stop learning, right? I'm telling you to think about what could go right and what could go wrong and the impact of the things you're supposed to be doing. So that's why the reason why I'm painting this picture out for you on the, like, creep wave when you single pull it and then you pull it and what happens, it pushes the wave and I'm like, well, now that you have 8 creeps and he has 4, that means you have 30 seconds where you're allowed to go be aggressive and hit him with a curse and right click him 3 times. But then you can only do that for 20 seconds or so, right? So then you run back and pull again. And, like, that's the point, right? I'm making sure you understand the impact of your decisions. If you're against a solo offlaner, this camp should be pulled at the 15-second mark every fucking time. Every time. Let me really quickly look this up here. I had it for my video. I think I saved the game intentionally. I was a weak carry and Dubu was Wyvern. Let me look. This will be the most useful.
I see it. Oh wait, no.
What happened here? I was trying to, like, scroll down and I clicked something. Dude, Dota's so buggy with the... Okay, my Dota just froze. That's a pog. 1 second, do I have to reshare screen with you? I think I do. Okay.
Yeah, it aborted.
Sorry. We always go a little over time anyway, so... Okay, let me... Dude, Dota is freaking the fuck out. Okay, let me, turn on screen share. Okay, you can see it again? Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay. I was Dire, so...
You on the right side. Okay.
I need a Y. I'm like 90% sure I saved this game. If I didn't, then that's life. How long ago are these games?
Just a lot of fucking PA games.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
all
of
I
PA.
see.
It would have been in, like, probably sometime in November, so if it's not here, then it's not here.
Oh, sometime then.
I'm looking. If I don't find it, we'll just
on
move
the left
on.
side.
Oh, unless it's, like, not reliable, so if...
I mean, that's like a Wyvern
That's
game,
not
but...
it. Oh, it might have... Is it really like this, where sometimes left side... Wow, what? Okay. Oh, wait, no, okay. That was correct. I was on this side. Okay, never mind. Can't find it. We tried. We're gonna go back to your game. Dude, don't tell me Dota's actually freezing again. Okay. I was like, what is happening? I really thought I saved that game. I really wanted to show you, because he played the game that I'm telling you to play, like the push-pull, like help your carry a bit and then go pull thing. He played it perfectly. I wish I had the game. Maybe it was on my main or something. But oh well, wasted about 3 minutes there. Sorry about that. We'll make sure we cover that. Okay, so now that we've harped on about 18 mistakes you've made in the first 5 creep waves, let's go ahead and fast forward. Any questions about that before I move on?
So you're saying I should always just like be pull versus a solo offlaner, always pull at the 15, and that's with the intent to not kill the wave entirely, instead get that like 30 seconds of like aggro period, and then just once again at the next 15 pull 30 seconds of aggro period. Because
yeah, think about it though. What you're doing, you'll deny 1 or 2 creeps a creep wave, every other creep wave, right? So every other creep wave you're denying 1 or 2 creeps, so your jug will get a slight level advantage. And then every time you walk over with 8 creeps, you're dealing free damage to the Sand King. In terms of, like, when you're gauging it from Jug's perspective, he's getting 1 or 2 creeps out of 8 denied. He's getting, like, 5 to 10 seconds of free harass damage on the Sand King. And that's all your impact on the lane. That's a huge deal, isn't it? Like, for your core to get that free shit, like, that's so much free shit. for your
Yeah,
core.
they have to, if they man up, they're gonna get punished.
Yeah, and so it's one of these things where you want your net effect of what's happening between these two heroes to be positive. So that would be a positive net effect. And that's almost always the correct way to play 2v1. And so you may say, BSJ, what are exceptions? Those are really hard to come up with.
Exceptions.
They're really hard to come up with, okay? And the only thing I can tell you is sometimes you'll do this and you'll be like, man, maybe I could have been more useful if I did this. And then that's how you figure out exceptions. Like,
Okay.
there's no more, like, simpler way to do it. That's why I like to teach Dota in, like, rules and exceptions, right? Because if you do this every time and then sometimes you realize it was incorrect, that's how you learn. Because, like, if something's the norm and then you do it and it's wrong in that specific instance, you'll learn from it. Okay. Okay, so do you know how, by the way, do you know how neutral aggro works with your creeps?
Yeah, if the things hit you within 500 meters or units
Is it based on where they're attacking from or where they hit you?
where they hit you.
Okay, so that's something where just try to make it timed better where this guy hits you when you're on top of all four
Yeah.
creeps. That's just a little thing, but it's important, like you miss half the pull.
Yeah, the kobolds like make them run quicker or something, so it
So-
also fucks it.
Yeah, and that's something you have to get used to. So, they do though. So this is an example where you deny 2 creeps and all, but none of this results in you being able to harass any extra. You're not getting any levels from this. That's why like having double pull, like big, like small camps, not usually a good thing. And these are even like the weaker camps. Like most supports, if these are the poison guys and the ice guys, won't even be able to kill it. Like. Because I don't know if you know, but certain neutrals do piercing damage, which does double damage, or sorry, 150% damage to creeps. So the poison camp and the ice camp do piercing, so they actually just like they shred your creep wave. Like they actually just kill your creep wave really fast. So, like that's an important knowledge to have as a support is what camps kill my wave a certain amount and stuff. So.
Where did you learn that?
Game Leap? No, I'm kidding. I looked it up on Dota 2 wiki. You can like Dota 2 wiki neutral creeps, and it'll tell you. Okay, the little intricacies of Dota are what make it a beautiful game. But now you're like, see what happens here though? Like you're so predicated, like you're so busy over here that now your Sand King's doing this crap. You can't stop him from doing what he wants to do. If all you do is single pull, the lane pushes out, and you come over and contest and all that shit, like, none of that shit's happening. You see what I'm saying? You see the difference there? I'm showing you, like, the negative impact of, like, stack pulling. It basically removes you from the lane. But if you do single pulling, you're still, like, a big influence on what's happening in the lane. And you still haven't killed this camp a single time.
That sounds much more fun. I get behind in levels now that because I'm not killing those camps.
Yeah, you haven't killed this a single time. You've killed one camp effectively at 6.5 minutes.
I notice I'm always like fucking
Notice
on
this?
levels.
You've killed one camp effectively at 6.5 minutes in the game. I think you should have killed 5. And you'd be possibly even higher level. Like,
You're right, you're right.
this guy should get shit on if he's 1v2. Like, he should get shit on. The only time you're not going to shit on him is when you have a really weak carry hero and your camp's blocked. So, if the way to prevent that is to have your camp not be blocked. Okay, so moving on, player perspective. And now you have no farm as well. It's not just levels, you know? Like, each little camp's like, 80 gold. So that's like another little bit of gold you're missing. So now that it's a single pull, you'll be able to kill it. But what's the problem with this single pull as opposed to what we want?
It's not gonna... Wait. Oh, it's...
See what I'm saying? So just keep these things in mind. You'll see the benefits, I assure you, very quickly when you start doing this shit.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll be like 1 level higher at 7 or 8 minutes, and your carry will just, or the offlaner will be like half a level lower, and all that shit adds up. Okay, so obviously your carry still won because it's like a pretty good matchup, Jug versus Sand King, and he's 1v2. It's just like it could be even better. You know, what if your Jug's level 8 and he's level 4? Like that guy's game is over. Nice. Okay, I like it. Fly yourself your items, good. 10-minute bounties. Nice, okay. Oh, okay, I like it. So my question for you is, what does that ward do? What's your idea
That
behind this
ward?
ward? So my answer for you is, in an ideal world, like meaning like eventually, if you're like a amazing top tier, baller tier professional, getting paid, getting laid, all that kind of stuff, you're gonna have a reason for every ward you place, like a very specific reason. So what's that one?
That one was just to cover runes, the river rune, and to just like it's like a walkway. You know, some people Sand King might go start Roman mid.
Okay,
Not the case because he's solo, but
okay. So my question is, so you're telling me all the things it does, but really, does that? Okay, so theoretically, it protects your mid laner from a gank from bottom, and it protects your safe laner from getting ganked. Are either of those things happening in this game?
not likely.
Is your level 8
But
Jug gonna
Pudge.
die to a Pudge Sand King?
Probably not.
Okay.
They'll just
If he's
spin
not a
around.
fucking idiot, okay? So, and is this Sand King... If this Sand King leaves his lane, what's gonna happen?
Jug's gonna free farm
And push his tower and kill it, right?
yeah.
So, is what's happening based what you place this ward on ever gonna happen this game?
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. That ward doesn't do shit. So, let's
Okay.
think about what will be happening in this game. So, this is important, because this is a skill you need to start attempting to grasp. Okay? So, like, it's easier said than done, right? I've played a shit ton of games of Dota and all this kind of stuff. But the goal is, if you start thinking about it like this, then you'll start getting there eventually. So, what is the dynamic of your safe laner? Like, what do you need to do now to secure your safe laner? Is there anything left for you to do? He's level 8, the Sand King's level 6. He's not under threat of gank. Is there anything left for you to secure for him bottom?
No.
Okay, no. So,
Toss a ward. Leave.
does he even need a ward?
It's a luxury. But
It's like a luxury, so it's something to consider, but does he need one?
the entire team came for him. But no, he doesn't need one.
Okay, if the entire team comes for him, I understand it's 3k.
That's
If he's gonna die,
yeah.
the ward ain't gonna save him, okay? Like,
True.
if he needs to be ganked by 4 heroes and he doesn't have the awareness to know that there's 4 heroes in his lane because nobody is showing on the map, I assure you the ward will not save him. Okay, so we don't need it for him. So, meaning if you think about these luxury things, it's just like a luxury item. When do you buy luxury items?
When you're ahead and you've gotten everything else that needs to be gotten.
Yeah, there's nothing else you need, right? So, the same thing applies to wards. So, if you think about luxury wards like that one, sure, if you don't need any other wards. So then, we have a PA versus Medusa mid. What's the dynamic of that? Like, is there kill potential there? Either way? Like, what is each of those heroes going to be looking to do? That kind of stuff. Anything?
I mean, is it favored in PAs? Like, if they are both equal skill?
I'd say Medusa's probably favored. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're-
Medusa kicked the fuck out of
Yeah,
this.
I'd say Medusa against any melee hero that doesn't have like ridiculously high damage is definitely favored. So
Okay.
I immediately, this is something you need to do, by the way. It's not just enough to look at the matchup at this point in the game. The reason why I try to tell people to make these decisions at the start of the game, meaning to start trying to understand stuff at the start of the game, like what I'm trying to teach you, is because it's much easier to diagnose how a matchup goes level 1 to 1. Why? When you're both level 1. Why is it easier to assess that matchup than it is to assess right now?
I mean, there's items thrown into the equation.
There's items, there's like
kills
ganks
under
that could
the
have
belt.
happened. This guy's level 10 and this guy's level 7, so I not only have to understand this matchup, but I also have to know the dynamic when one guy's level 10 and the other guy's level 7. What if it was reversed? What if PA's level 10 and this guy's level 7? Doesn't that change everything? Right? Like,
It does change everything.
yeah, so if you can't assess matchups properly at level 1, how the fuck are you ever going to do it at level, or 10 minutes into the game, right? So that's why I always tell people to like try to start this stuff in the laning stage. And for supports, it's super important to understand core matchups, right? Because your job is to enable your cores to have better games. So my point is, so your jug doesn't need you. What I'm thinking is this Medusa's probably not going to die, right? Like, that's not going to happen. I can't imagine this Medusa dying with the circumstances of this game for the next long time. Okay, not in our immediate, not in the duration of these wards is what I would describe. So in this moment, we have established Jug does not need anything. PA ain't doing. What's PA gonna do based on this matchup mid for the next 5-6 minutes? Because we're thinking about wards right now.
He's gonna. Well,
So since Medusa's ahead, is this lane going to be consistently pushed into PA's tower, or is this lane going to be consistently pushed into Medusa's tower?
it's gonna be PA's tower.
Okay, so what's PA most likely going to do?
Pretty much get forced out of the lane.
I'd probably say be farming under tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
That too.
Okay, so that's pretty much what he's going to be doing is farming under tower. Maybe like if the lane's here and the Medusa's staticking it, it's going to go to here. Are they probably going to make aggressive moves around a Medusa?
Yes.
I guess they could, but is Medusa a hero that like wants to be pressuring and getting towers and stuff?
Oh God, no.
She can if she's like this far ahead, but what's this Medusa 99% in your 3K bracket, but most Medusas anyways, will do?
They just like kill creeps, then go farm.
Yeah, and where is he going to farm?
The jungles.
Which jungle?
Well, the jungle farthest away from, I don't know, like us.
I would say he's not scared of dying at all, and the most efficient jungle is this one.
Yeah, most camps are
So
equal.
it's just like if the walk from here to here is shorter than the walk from here to here. Okay, so like he's gonna rotate between lane and jungle, right? Because he's really strong and he's just gonna maximize efficiency. So what I'll see most Medusas do is they walk from here to here, farm this camp, maybe stack this one, walk back to lane, kind of thing. Like that's what they'll do. So that's what he's gonna do. So since he's like pretty much unkillable, will a ward seeing him doing that help you at all?
Yes.
If he's
it
pretty
just
much
gives
unkillable,
knowledge,
does a
I
ward
guess. No.
showing him doing this effective? It doesn't accomplish anything if you really think about it, because if you want to see him...
It just shows them where they're at.
What's the 2 reasons that I can think of? Maybe you have more and I'll add to it. What are the 2 reasons I would want to see a hero on their team farming?
Do you know where to gank them?
Okay.
You know what items they have.
I'd say because I want to know when I would be able to gank them and also know if they're ganking.
Okay.
Because if a hero's off map, they're doing one of 2 things. They're ganking or they're farming, right? So if I can't kill her while she's farming, do I care about seeing her farming for the sake of trying to kill her?
No.
It's a Medusa, so do I care about if she's farming or ganking?
You care about if she. I mean.
Because she ain't ganking.
Farming.
She's not ganking. She's farming, right? Like I'm telling you, you don't have to see her to know that.
You know. Okay,
Right,
yes.
like you just don't, right? If she
Don't
shows up
care
to
the
your
match,
Jugs
she's
lane, he's
fine.
not gonna die, right? So if this is like an OD, for instance, and your safe laner is like, or your off laner or something's like a
Drow.
Tide or a Drow that could be Dove, anything like that dies to OD, anything you can think of that dies to OD. And the OD's been spending the last 5 minutes rotating from pushing the lane to jungling. Even if you can't kill the OD, it's definitely important that you see him because your carry cares about that guy. But does my Jug care about Medusa?
No.
No, right? So I know this seems like a lot, okay? Eventually these things start becoming second nature when you think about them like this, okay? So the goal is you want to try your best to analyze what might be happening at the start of the game, meaning a lot of this stuff can be gauged. Like Medusa's probably going to try to farm. Like, are we trying to kill her, or what are we doing in response to that? So based on the and that's when you say based on your PA being level 10 and her level 7, like it's saying your PA 1 by 3 levels, in that case you'd probably want to see the Medusa farming because you can kill her. But in this case, you can't. So if we have established that Jug does not need our help anymore, and PA ain't doing shit mid, but we might want to protect PA from ganks potentially, because she is more vulnerable than Jug, and Jug doesn't need a ward. Then we can just put a ward that protects PA. So because the lane's going to be at PA's tower, where's PA going to be spending all of her time?
Under tower.
Here and here.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that what she's going to be doing? So
Yeah.
if we want to protect her, where's a good ward?
The
Maybe right here.
Most of the team right there. You wouldn't want to the
I'd-
upper part near like the Roche River part.
Doesn't this, if he's smart, so we have to assume our teammates do the right thing. Okay, we just have to, because you can't think about everything he shouldn't be doing. Okay, you just can't. As I catch myself doing that a little bit too often, and all it does is hurt me whenever I think like that. So, if he's farming this camp and under tower, he's going to be on this right here. He's not going to be here. So a ward here doesn't matter. If he's going to get ganked while he's here, a ward here will see everything that comes from this side that this ward would see. Do you see like what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like, I'm giving you like 7k level warding, by the way. We just need you to start thinking like this.
That's all I need.
Yeah. So the next step is Jug can't be helped. We can give PA a quick ward. What's our last option?
I don't know. I was thinking
There's only
like,
3 lanes. So what's our last option?
warding up top
Okay.
somewhere
So let's look at this lane.
near the small camp.
So let's look at this lane. What immediately makes me hesitant to ward the top lane? Don't care about levels. I'm looking at heroes.
They have escape, or the top lane really doesn't have that many like people that are gonna leave and go gank. They're just gonna farm.
Don't they have a hero that if he walks through a ward, he knows you warded there?
Slark, yeah.
Okay. So,
Slark the Narc, yeah.
so when I'm against Slark, when's the only time I can ward his side of the map?
If you forced him to the other side of the map and he's not gonna walk over it and tell his team to deward it.
So if I'm a Slark, what's the disadvantage of walking through a ward, knowing it's there, and then going to deward it?
It puts you out in the potential to get ganked.
Okay, so when are we allowed to put a ward on Slark's side of the map?
If we're gonna be ganking him soon.
If we threaten him when he walks to deward it. If I'm a Slark player, I will only deward a ward if I feel safe to do so, because when I'm under the vision of the ward, I'm literally doing what Slark doesn't want to be doing, which is showing himself on the map. Okay, so I asked you that, right? That's the condition for warding Slark's side of the map. And so, emphasis to you and everyone watching, once again, what does it take to understand how to support?
Are you asking this?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Wait, what was the question?
Based on everything about your warding and what you're doing next, have I asked you anything about Silencer?
No.
What have I asked you about?
Nothing, I think. Maybe my starter.
Haven't I? No, not about Silencer. I'm asking you, what have I asked you in the last, 5-10 minute spiel?
You've asked me things about pulling and asked me about, like, the necessity of warding at the correct
What
spots.
in relevance to warding did I ask you about? What the fuck the cores are doing?
Where the cores are.
The matchups of the cores. How these cores play the game. Like, what they do. Like, didn't I ask you a ton of stuff about Medusa? I asked you stuff about Slark. I asked you about the Jug versus Sand King bottom. Right? Like, this is what I'm trying to emphasize. To understand how to play support, you have to understand how the core heroes work. Like, that's what you have to learn. Okay, so sometimes I think if you're a support spammer, it's good for 20-30% of your games to try to play core every now and then. Make it so every time you play carry, you play the same hero every game and learn that hero. And then what, like, meaning like when I say learn, you don't have to like mechanically play it perfectly, but like just by playing a hero, you learn a lot of their strengths and weaknesses, right? You just like learn a lot about them just by playing them. Okay. Sorry if I'm being a little harsh, but you get what I'm getting at here, is all of my questions about warding were nothing to do with your hero, it's all about the heroes on your team. So, I asked you about Slark, I said the only time we want to ward Slark's part of the map is to possibly threaten him when he's underneath the ward. So let's look at this lane. Level 6, 8 stick charges, doing pretty well. Centaur's level 5, not even close to level 6. Phoenix is level 4. Do you guys threaten this guy?
No.
Okay, so are we warding the top half of the map?
No.
Okay, so what have we effectively accomplished by this entire diagnosis of our wards?
You need to know where your warding is the most effective.
Well, what I'm saying is maybe we
Don't
get this
waste.
ward here, okay?
Yeah.
And then what are we doing on the map? What are we accomplishing now? Not killing mid. We're not killing top. Jug doesn't need us. What do we do now as a support?
As a support, really, maybe go help some other lane stack.
Okay. So
don't
here's
stack
how
Jug
Dota
anymore.
works, okay? The way I like to think about it is sometimes your mid laner can be the 1, sometimes your carry's the 2, that kind of stuff. And it's not always black and white, but in general, the way I like to think about roles is as the 5, you come 5th priority, okay?
Yeah.
You're the 5th priority in this game, meaning we have to consider what our Jug needs, what our PA needs, what our Centaur needs, and what our Phoenix might need, okay? So, we have considered Jug, doesn't need our help. We have considered PA, we can give him a ward, but we're not doing shit for him, there's nothing to accomplish here. And we can't gank the Slark, and we're not really doing anything if we go top. So now what hero do we get to consider? Ourselves! So what do you need?
Well, I just need to start itemizing in the idea.
You're a 5, you ain't getting
what
any
the-
fucking
what are the
items. What do you
cores.
need?
Okay. Fucking like more wards, clarities, healing salves, maybe. Well, I need my ult.
Okay,
The tome.
so you need
but
some
the
levels.
Phoenix took the tome.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're 5th priority. This guy needs a tome, so let's be clear about that. This guy needs a tome, so you're 5th priority. So how do you
Okay.
get your level 6? What's the best thing you can do right now?
I don't know. I can't go soak. I don't want to go soak Jug's lane.
Okay.
I can't jungle. I'm a fucking 5. I'm a weak. Just pull?
Yeah, it's that simple.
Oh my god.
I know this seems crazy, okay? So I know this is like
Forehead.
a lot of times I give like very complicated answers to something. But like one of the reason why on my stream I've talked time and time again from my own perspective when I'm playing carries that I'm not too familiar with, one of the most difficult things to do on any role is to recognize when you're not supposed to do anything. Why do you think I believe it is so difficult to recognize when I'm not supposed to do anything?
Because that's the hardest thing a human can do is just do nothing.
Okay, and didn't I have to consider every single option of anything I could have done in this game? Realize all of them do nothing, and now I do nothing?
Yeah, that's
That's-
also a lot on top of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is if you really think about it, doing nothing in Dota means, if you're doing it correctly, doing nothing at the current moment means that you have considered every possible thing you could do, and none of them made sense, okay? So as a carry, like, the only time I AFK hit neutrals is when I have considered every option on the table, pushing a tower, ganking a hero, farming a creep lane, anything. And none of it, I can do anything. I can't do anything. So then I'll just hit some neutrals. So, like, that's an example from the carry perspective. So support, the difference is you have to prioritize yourself last. So once you've considered helping everyone else in the game, so you go ward up mid, you can't help top, you're not ganking mid, Jug doesn't need you to be there to help him, but what could you do to help, quote-unquote, Jug?
What could I do to help this Jug? In quotes. Pull the lane. is what you suggested.
I'm saying pull is like for you, right? Like that overall at this point, Jug doesn't need you to pull, right? So it like may help him a little bit, but like your Jug's the aggressive hero in the game, right? Like because he's level 8 and the Sand King's level 6, right?
Mhm.
So if you want to quote unquote help him, it's
Oh,
help him be aggressive, right? You see
help
what I'm
him
saying?
be aggressive.
So
Show up in his lane and like hit the guy out of it so he can. have
yeah,
space.
like you can debatably show up in his lane and hit the guy, like, and maybe help him push the tower. If you're like a more kill-oriented support, say you were like a Lion or something, or if your Jug has ulti, like in this case, I'm a silencer Jug, so because I can't really help him kill anybody, I'm probably just gonna pull. But like this is a consideration, okay? To be honest with you, what should Jug do right now?
What should Jug do? Isn't he? He's right next to me. He can either go back to lane or he can start farming the jungle.
He's the strongest hero on your team. Should he ever farm the jungle?
No.
Okay, so that's not an option. So, if, we're asking the carry players in chat, this is a good question to ask yourselves. What do you think he should do? If he leaves bottom does Sand King like take your tower? What does he get? What do you get if he leaves bottom?
What do I? Oh, I mean, Sand King will I don't know. He can slowly push forward and just take the tower with like neutrals. He's
What
not
if
a
you're
pusher,
underneath and you just Arcane Curse the creep wave? Is that tower dying?
then makes him. He won't. No, it won't die.
Okay,
It'll just like make the creeps fuck off, and Sand King will go.
so this is something to consider from a carry player's perspective, right? So
Okay.
if he leaves bottom, if he stays bottom, he's gonna farm against Sand King, right? That's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Is he really killing Sand King when he has no ult?
No.
Okay, so if he stays bottom, he's going to farm against Sand King. If he leaves, aren't you going to farm versus Sand King?
Should I? Is what you're suggesting?
Isn't that what's going to happen if he leaves?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
as a carry player, or like the strongest hero in the game, what's the worst thing I can do?
Let me go farm that lane instead of just manning up and taking your lane. I don't.
Okay,
Or farm the
so
jungle. As you said. I'll be aggressive.
if I had a weight in my room that like I had to get out, okay? I had to get it out of here. And it weighed 50 pounds. Am I going to pay a guy 10 times as much as it would cost me to pay my sister if that guy could lift 500 pounds? Would I pay him instead of just having my sister do it? Who could lift 50 pounds? This is a terrible analogy, but it's definitely going to drive the point across.
Your sister could easily do that, right?
Yeah, so my sister could lift 50 pounds. Am I going to pay some guy that could lift 500 pounds to go pick up that weight out of my room?
No, that's unnecessary.
Okay, so if Jug's going to farm bottom, and he's 10 times stronger than you are, and if he leaves, you're going to farm bottom, should he stay bottom?
No.
Okay, so what's the worst thing you can do as a strong hero in the game?
Go where you're not needed.
Go somewhere that a 5 position could do the exact same thing you could do.
Ah.
How, like, after you think about it that way, like, isn't that fucking obvious? The worst thing you can do as a strong hero in the game is do something somebody else on your team could do. So,
True.
there's just no reason to. Like,
You speak the truth.
yeah, so I made a terrible analogy, but the point was to drive it home that if you have one guy that's way more powerful than you and you both could do the same thing, that's when I get mad at people. I'm like, why is this guy here? Like, he's the... Like, if my like mid laner who's like 3 levels ahead of their guy is like farming underneath my tower down here, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I could do that, and I'm like a level 6 carry, and he's level 10. I'm like, what are you doing? I could do that. Because if you're doing something that somebody on your team that's weaker could be doing, what is effectively happening in the game? You're missing pressure somewhere. Like, you could be accomplishing something. So I'm a level 8 Jug. Let me ask you, what happens if he walks up to top lane? Like, sorry, TP's the top lane. On Jug.
If he TP's the top lane,
You're going to take his lane, so we've now forget about this lane. And then what's going to happen here?
they're gonna pressure it, try to push it.
Is Slark, like, if he walks up to Slark and starts wailing on him, what's Slark's response going to be?
He's gonna like probably just run away.
Okay, because Jug's level 8 and Slark's level 6, right? That simple. Even Slark level 7. Honestly, if you understand the Jug-Slark matchup, like, if Jug shows up in his lane, like, Slark just doesn't do anything. Like, just can't do anything. Slark doesn't kill you, you attack better than he does. The only difference is if Slark's, like, level 8 and Jug's level 6. Like, that's not happening. But, like, meaning, if Jug's even or ahead, he's stronger. So, the point is, if I show up in this Slark's lane, Slark's options are to try to soak under tower, which leaves him vulnerable, or to leave. So if Slark leaves, does Jug threaten towers?
If Slark leaves, does Jug threaten towers? Yeah.
In general, does Jug threaten towers? If
Yeah.
you see a Jug walking down a lane on the enemy team, are you worried he might take your tower?
Yeah.
Okay, if a Slark walks down a lane and he's on the other team, are you scared he's going to take your tower?
Yeah.
What?
Isn't
Slark takes towers?
Slark can push.
What year is this? Slark takes towers?
Fucking no.
Okay.
Slark just got back in the meta. I wasn't here.
Okay, that's fair.
Whatever.
Slark doesn't hit towers. So,
Doesn't? Oh.
yeah,
I
so
see.
Jug
Slark
has
can do it. I don't know.
Jug has a much lower base attack time, 1.4 compared to Slark's 1.7, and Slark has 1.5 agility gain, and Jug has 2.4. So one of them does way more right-click damage than the other. That's like a mathematical reason, but Jug just hits towers like way harder, and he has like natural sustain under towers. Slark's kit benefits him when he's not being seen, and when he's taking a tower, he's being seen. So, that's just another reason. Okay, So either way, these are the things that honestly, is if you want to be a better support player, eventually you have to get. So eventually, the point is your jug should go bottom, or sorry, top. But he's probably gonna go back bottom. This is 3K, so he goes back bottom,
he did.
and you can just pull, for all the reasons we came to, and so you're gonna walk. Let's see what you do. You're going to walk through a ward to top. Your jug's going to get chased out of bottom and die. Forehead. Okay. How did your jug actually die? Oh, Pudge is 6? Yeah, if Pudge is 6, he should leave bottom even more so. So, this is just simply put. If you understand Dota, you can predict what's going to happen. I said Jug should not be bottom at 10.5. Dies at 11:15. It's just not a shocker. Okay, like, this is the kind of shit that... The point that I'm trying to make to you is Dota can be thought about like this, and you'll eventually be able to avoid bad shit happening because you'll know it's coming. Okay. So, like I said, you're pretty useless up here. So imagine... Okay. What did I say happens when the stronger hero's in the wrong place on the map? Pressure is lost, right?
Yes.
Didn't I say that? Imagine if you and him swapped positions on the map 40 seconds ago.
I would have got hooked. Died, probably.
Okay. Okay.
He would have been alive. We would have gotten the tower.
Okay.
Slark would have not
Then farm.
been able to farm.
Okay.
You know.
But you still die bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be worth like 180 gold.
Yeah, so the same shit happens. You lose a hero. But instead, you're taking a tower and Slark's not farming. But because your jug stays bottom...
Dies.
He dies.
The tower too.
And you're top. Okay. So, did you watch my dead lane video at all?
No.
Well, shit. You're here for a coaching session, you haven't even watched it. Okay, so, where does the strong hero on the go... okay, so remember, I talk in rules, not exceptions. Like, there are exceptions to this. This isn't, like, set in stone. Past the 10-minute mark, where does the strong hero on your team supposed to go? Do you know?
No.
Opponent's safe lane. Okay, that's where you go almost every game. There's exceptions, and you can study them, but 90% of the time, you go to the opponent's safe lane. So, if the Jug knew this, by watching a video on YouTube for free, and wanted to understand more about it, sorry, I'm not going to sell out, he could have known that at 10 minutes he should leave his safe lane because he's the strongest hero in the game. Like, he would have known that. But instead he feeds, and guess what? They get a tower and you don't. Like, it's that simple. If you're the weakest hero on the map, you should stay in your own safe lane. Because that's where the opponent's going to make most of their plays. So, it's just a dynamic of Dota. So, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have a couple very extensive videos on it. So now you're left in an awkward spot. And so this is part of the games that are out of your control. But let's rewind to what you just had happen there. Okay. So, if I'm saying the strongest hero on the team should go to the opponent's safe lane at 10 minutes, what is the most dangerous place on the map past 10 minutes?
Their lane? The lane that you just went to? Well, I guess he's there to be safe. Maybe our safe lane?
Okay.
Past 10 minutes?
So, yeah. So, if it's your own safe lane.
That's the dead lane, oh.
Yeah, okay. And this tower is gone.
Even more unsafe.
Where is the enemy team going to be playing?
Well, they're gonna when they want to go for more objectives, so they're going to be like up toward the objectives that they haven't gotten yet.
Okay, so here's how
Or
Dota
use-
works. Okay, I'm gonna give you the nice little, once again, rule. Not something that applies every fucking game, but it's very close. First tower to die, your own safe lane. Okay. Second tower to die, either this one or this one. Okay. Obviously, there's exceptions if one mid laner's like a Huskar and he's 5 levels ahead or whatever. You know, there's exceptions, but the rule is this tower first, then one of these 2 towers. So if this tower is going to die first, and these towers are going to die second, where will the opponent be playing?
Somewhere on that part of the map.
Okay, so what's the most
Lower
dangerous part of the map for your team?
That part.
This
lower
part.
half.
And if you're dire, this part.
Mm.
It's a little bit different now because of these ramps and stuff. They made it so it's a little bit safer. So,
Safe.
how many times at 12 minutes into the game, with this tower dead, should you just gander into your own jungle for no reason? Let's just watch this gander into your own jungle here.
This guy.
Oh, you just conveniently delivered yourself a kill to the punch. Like, it's... BSJ, does the dead lane apply at 3k? I get that question like every fucking day, actually. Okay, like, it's so simple. Like, if you just list, like, this jug is feeding. You're telling me this jug wouldn't be better off if you knew the dead lane concept at 3k? Like, he's just feeding. And he's like the strongest hero in the game. When I say feeding, it's like, well, instead of taking a tower, he's busy chasing after a Sand King. And instead of, like, hitting creeps and taking a tower, he's farming, or he's chasing a Sand King while, like, not farming. So, okay. So, moving on. No reason to walk in your own jungle unless you have vision of it or they're showing. So, if I tell you that this is the most dangerous place on the map, right here, what might an exception to that be?
If it's warded?
If you just see them somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
It's that simple. Don't you assume they're making the right play, and if they're doing something else, then you can capitalize on it. Like I said, there are times where like them taking this tower is important or whatever, but I like to think of Dota in terms of rules and exceptions, as I've already mentioned. So I'm going to assume the rule's happening unless something else happens, like on the map, meaning like I'm going to assume they're in my jungle unless they've proved to me otherwise that they're not there. So if they're missing from here and they're not showing here, I'm probably going to be like sitting in a tree scared, waiting for them to show me whatever they're doing. But the point is, we have to assume they're here, and unless they prove otherwise. And so, pretty much, to help you maybe guide your carries if they ever are willing to listen to you, if you allow this Slark to farm farm his own lane like this by himself. Were you watching my stream today, or no?
I heard you complaining about, like, if we leave this monkey, we lose or something.
Okay.
Is that what you're about to refer to?
Yes, that is actually exactly what I'm referring to. So I said if we let this Monkey King solo bottom, he was on Radiant, we lose this game. Okay, so it was a similar spot because we were losing, meaning like we were behind. And so if it's important to apply pressure here as Radiant, and the Dire is going to apply pressure here, what is our role in this lane down here? I'm giving you the dead lane video in my version.
The monkey was farming in that lane that you just pointed to.
I'm telling you, if the enemy team's job is to apply pressure bottom, what's our job towards bottom lane?
Defend it.
Okay, so to relieve pressure, okay?
Relieve.
So if your team is not pressured at all, what are they going to do?
If our team is not
If
pressured,
any team in the world is not pressured, what are they going to do?
they're going to do whatever the hell
Okay, they're going to do whatever the hell they want. So if my job, or my team's job is to pressure bottom, and we're down by 4k, and the opponent is able to relieve all of that pressure with one hero, what's happening on the rest of the map?
There's relief everywhere else.
So if this Monkey King in my game is defending this lane alone, what are the other 4 heroes doing when they're up by 5,000 gold?
Running around pressuring other lanes.
Killing people, farming, taking towers, not dying because they're up by 5,000.
Murdering.
So, do you see what I'm referring to in this game? What's happening right now that making you lose the game?
They're pressuring.
Why are they pressuring? Why are they allowed to pressure?
They know that they're ahead. They have a Medusa.
I literally just referred to a Monkey King farming his own safe lane by himself. Why are you losing this game?
Because this. Are Jugs farming the lane down there? Oh,
their Slark is allowed to farm the safe lane by himself.
No, we're not pressuring their carry anymore.
If you are losing or winning, usually the most efficient place to apply pressure is here. If you're getting pressured and they're not, they're going to win, period. Like, that's just how Dota works. So, I'm telling you this because you can try to guide your carries, or you can sometimes do it as a support. Like, if you watch Pro Dota, if a team's losing by this amount at 14 minutes, they'll 5-man this lane. Like, they will 5-man this lane. They'll bring as many heroes as they possibly need in order to take this tower. Because if they're allowed to relieve pressure with one hero, the other 4 heroes are going to do whatever the fuck they want. They're going to keep killing you because they're up by 5,000. And so, this is an example of a game where the game's not exactly easy, but perfect example that your Jug kind of threw the game by staying bottom at 10 minutes. Like, he like the game.
Was that guy's fault? Shit.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously could have made him 3 levels higher, so maybe he didn't die. Meaning, like, you could have played the lane better for all the reasons I've portrayed to you.
That's why I was like, there's something I could have done
Yes.
this fucking game.
But I'm telling you, if you are behind and they are allowed to defend their safe lane with one hero, that cannot happen. Like, you actually just have to 5-man that guy. If you 5-man that guy and they respond, what does that accomplish?
See, so if we 5-man this Slark and then they respond,
And
their
you
entire
try to run away, what happens?
they're probably gonna.
They could
us.
kill us, okay? But why is this part of the map death zone?
This part of the map is death
Yes.
zone.
Why is it death zone?
They could be down there.
Okay, so if we go here and we force them to be here, even if we feed 2 heroes, what is this part of the map now?
Free.
Not dead zone for like at least a minute. Like, until like,
TPs are down.
Dota is like kind of like it's a lot like ecologic or whatever the word
Red
is.
light, green light.
No, it's like an equilibrium thing. Like, meaning this is the status quo, this is what's normal. You throw a wrench in it, and the system will reestablish equilibrium eventually.
Perturbation.
Yeah, I was a biomedical engineer. It was like 3 years ago. We're not going to worry about it. It's going to naturally return to its equilibrium. So whether it's TP cooldowns or however long it takes them to walk back, that's what's going to happen in Dota. Is you're going to force them here, and then eventually they'll come back to here just by
Chatelier shit going on.
Yeah. So my point is, if this area is dead zone and you can't kill them, what's the only way to deal with this being the dead zone?
To make them teleport to where you
Make
just
them
said.
leave.
Relieve.
You have to
Yeah,
make them leave, right? You have to force them to do something, and that's why in my game I'm literally yelling at my team to and that was a 6K Darkseer, and he couldn't grasp that. Okay, so at
You
this
support as Darkseer.
trust me, that's a great question in and of itself. So, we've harped a lot on this game, and obviously it's over an hour. So I'm going to move on to the next game real quick and make sure we don't get anything we might have missed here. Okay, so you said perhaps we can look at this one. So let's check this out. Any questions about that game that I just talked about in ridiculous depth for the first 15 minutes?
So, a lot of the games right now just seem like you lose at the draft, which is
That's kind
I
of
don't
true.
know. Did this patch make it this or something? Like, it just
Um,
seems, I hate PA is fucking picked every game now, and if you don't pick her, then you could lose now because that PA, like, they can just come back and murder you. But,
yeah, I don't know.
like,
I
this-
mean,
did we lose at the draft? Like
in
this
that last
Rubik
game?
mid-
oh, this
no,
one here?
this draft. Like this Rubik mid, he could not beat. I think it was a Slark mid. I don't know.
Here, let me fast forward through this mid lane real quick.
We just don't have like. We lacked a lot of things because they were just shitting all over us. Because we
I mean,
didn't
this
have,
patch
like,
is
a
just
Rubik
like it
mid.
last patch, where if you lose 3 lanes, you're gonna lose the fucking game. That just kind of happens. In your game, the difference was you had one lane that won, and the guy chose to be useless. So then you effectively lost all 3 lanes. So I'm watching the mid lane.
This one was I think I wanted to show you this one because I had a really tough lane, but we came out on top, and this anti-mage, he did all he could, like run around the farm after all was said and done.
I mean, your Rubik's winning mid.
Yeah, he like won mid, but then he was useless mid game.
I mean, Rubik's like a really powerful mid hero. I've seen people flame the hero.
It's just with the Arcana
I'm
coming
just-
out,
I'm
it's like,
just- I mean, maybe if he's like a really bad Rubik player, like that's just any hero in the game. Like if they're really bad at the hero or whatever.
It starts getting bad like way later. I don't know. if you
Okay,
wanna
so this is
watch
definitely
all
not.
that.
I'm literally watching this on fast forward because you told me it was a drafting thing, which is just not. So let's go ahead and
It's
watch.
not.
Let's go ahead and watch your game.
Yeah, let's see what. I just want to know.
You have
what I
a
could-
favorable mid matchup. Anti-Mage is basically unkillable other than Slark, and Slark's the one losing his lane. So we're gonna ask you, how does this lane dynamic go? Give me the best portrayal: Grimstroke, Tide versus Silencer, Anti-Mage. Give me your best assessment. Go.
All right, so I was like, kind of like, fuck, this is a really oppressive fucking lane. Like this Tide, Intermage walks up to the creep, Tide's gonna fucking do his anchor smash. I mean, Grimstroke's just gonna be in the back trying to throw shit from the woods. He can put the ink swell on the Tide, and like, there's a lot of kill potential on their end. And
Okay.
my end, I really don't know. Like, I was silent.
If you walk up and harass the Tide, what's gonna happen to you?
nothing. Well, I'm gonna get attacked. I can't hurt the Tide even. past like level 2.
When he gets
crack
level
check,
2 and he's like a decent player, what's gonna happen to you if you walk up and right click him?
he's gonna totally try to fist me.
He's gonna gush you. He's gonna get ink swelled by Grimstroke, and you're gonna die from full to 0. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're allowed to do anything other than maybe throw in an Arcane Curse every once in a while.
No.
So what's your only input on this lane?
Pulling.
Okay.
That's
Let's
what
go ahead
I
and-
was
let's
like,
go ahead
is
and
that
watch.
really all I could do? Because like some
That's
lanes,
like a lot of lanes this
you
patch.
gotta poke, and then now like just like it's a Tidehunter. You can't poke the Tidehunter. You could poke the Grimstroke. That's what I thought I could do.
I think they were pretty nice to let you live there. I mean, you're just going way ham. Like I like this whole time I've been watching, I'm literally like, wow, he's going so ham. Like, how is he going
Yeah,
so
I
ham?
really wanted
If
to
you were my
do
support, I'd be
that.
like, oh, what the fuck is this guy doing? I'm an anti-mage. I don't offer anything, and he's going ham.
They wanted to hit me more than they wanted to hit Anti-Mage, so I was like, I'm at least relieving Anti-Mage.
So how many pulls have you missed so far?
1.
Okay, let's keep it going. Lucky for you, nobody in your bracket seems to block the small camp.
I always bring a Sentry, but
I'm saying, like,
at
you
me
wouldn't have
thinking-
even noticed the small camp was gone until, like, 140, and you might, like, in that case, you might miss it. Okay, second pull missed. Third pull miss. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, for the next 50 games, you're not allowed to stack this camp ever.
okay.
Just
I
for your own
literally have been
sake.
living
You're-
by the double stack.
You are not allowed to stack this camp for 50 games. Eventually, you'll learn why it's good in certain scenarios, but the rule is to never stack it. The exception is sometimes it's
Okay, what
correct.
about on Dire though? Like the polling there is kind of fucked. It's
It's the same thing. What do you mean?
the camp doesn't leash. I thought the hard camp like won't make it all the way to the small camp.
Um,
Sometimes it just like
so that's true.
stops.
That's true. That's true. But
So that's why I double
what
stacked
what
that.
about this lane made it so that, like, I told you, like, most of the time you're not even chain pulling.
Most of the time you're not even chain pulling. Yeah.
So, like,
don't-
here's okay. It's the Undying game. Is it? No, I need the other one. So this guy's rank 450 and has no idea how to lane support pull. Just giving you a quick idea of like how much MMR you can gain just knowing how to fuck the lane support. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you real quick what a single pull does. Okay, I just remembered this example.
He did it right or wrong?
I had to do it for him. So it's 4 minutes into the game here.
Yikes.
So this is what I mean by oh, it's right here. No, it's not right here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So I'm against Dazzle Slardar. I'm an anti-mage. Can I walk up when the lanes are here?
No.
Okay.
God no.
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward. Let's see what the lane looks like before I pull.
Dazzle's such a bad.
It's right here, right? So that's where the lane is. Look what my Undying's doing. Thank you for analyzing that I cannot lane here Undying. So I'll go do your job for you. Okay, so
You
this is what
actually
happens. Yeah, no, I do it. You have to. So this is what happens to the lane after I pull.
Okay, so you stack it a little bit. A couple creeps live. Okay.
Where's the lane now?
Now it's right there.
Cool! Did I stack? Did I chain pull? Did I do anything?
You just literally pulled a little bit.
Yeah, and it's back here. And if I'm in a like an even to advantageous lane, I can turn this into the lane pushing, and guess what? I can do it again. So then I can see what's going to happen here. The lane's going to push again because it's under my tower. Crazy, I got 2 creep waves under tower.
Oh my god. I've been
And then instead of fighting them and feeding, I could just pull again and do the same thing again, but instead I'm just fighting them and feeding.
Oh, damn.
It's crazy. The solution as a carry when you're in a lane where you can't fight them is what? Any idea?
The solution. Wait, what was
When
the
you're a
question?
carry and you can't fight them, what's the only way to minimize the bad parts of the lane as a carry hero?
Try to secure as much farm as you can.
Creep aggro. Okay,
Creep
so
aggro.
creep aggro is the only way. Because as a carry, the only thing I can do is try to make it so the creeps are in a better position for me to farm because I'm at a disadvantage. As a support, what's the only thing I can do if it's a lane that I can't contribute very much to?
As a support, you gotta pull
Okay.
or
Pull.
not the. I mean,
Pull. Okay, that's what you do. When you are in a lane where you say, "What the fuck do I do here?" You pull. That is the answer every single time. Okay.
I would pull.
So, okay, good talk. Okay, I'm not even listening to any other possible explanation you can give me. Okay, like this Undying needs to realize in my game that we can't fight Dazzle Slardar. If he didn't understand that matchup before, so every lane you should go in saying, I can fight this duo or not. You should make that guess. If you think you can fight them, and you fight them, and you guys fucking lose, what should you do next time you're in that same situation?
Pull.
Okay. Good talk, you know? Like, it's just like one of those things where, like, it this resonates a little bit too much with me, because it seems so simple, and my supports don't do this correctly 80% of my games, okay? 80%. And it's like, if honestly, if every one of my supports defaulted to pulling at the 15-second mark every fucking lane, my lanes would be twice as good on average, okay? Like, the times where it's not correct are so few and far between that if you just do this, it'll work 80 to 90% of your games, okay? Like, it just will. It will be the optimal play. So, like, in this case, who's better off? Okay, so you say BSJ. I know the question in chat, and somebody's thinking it is, BSJ, he's against a dual lane this time. So, what if the Grimstroke comes over and blocks the pull? Like, just stops me from pulling. So, my question is, would you rather have it be Silencer Anti-Mage against Grimstroke Tide, or AM versus Tide?
Just AM versus Tide.
Okay. So, what if this Grimstroke comes and blocks your pull?
Then, oh no.
Okay. Now Anti-Mage is 1v1 versus Tide. So,
Just slap
so what happens when he blocks your pull? What should you do 30 seconds later?
Pull again.
Try to pull again. What if he blocks you again?
Try to pull again.
Try to pull again. For whatever reason, when I supports get their pull blocked one time, they just say, "Well, didn't work that time," and they give up. Okay? I'm like, what the fuck? Just pull again. So the whole idea is, like, in that decision, when you're in a dual lane, is you take the core matchup, and when you include the two supports, which support has more impact? Okay? That's really all it comes down to. If your support hero has more impact than theirs, you would rather it be 2v2, right? But in this case, Grimstroke's stronger than you, so you'd rather it be 1v1. So that's what pulling does. It separates them. So why did I say creep aggro is the carry's job when he's in a bad lane? What does creep aggro do?
It just pulls the creeps to him. So
It repositions the creeps, so it makes the other guys like have to go out of their way a bit more to stop you, right?
Yeah.
What does pulling do?
It totally resets equilibrium, or
It
like,
makes the
makes
guy
you
go
have
away
the ability to
from
have
the
aggressive-
lane in order to stop you.
yeah.
It draws their attention somewhere else. When you're losing the game at 11 minutes, why do you bring 5 heroes here?
Just to
Get them away from here!
Yeah, pull them away.
Like, when you're behind and the other team's in control, this applies to the laning stage, it applies to 10 minutes, it applies to 20 minutes. What's the only thing you can do?
When they're where?
When they are ahead,
When they are ahead, the only thing you can do is try to relieve pressure.
force them to do something they don't want to do. Okay? So, in the early game, that's them not want they like what's their dream right now? What do they want from you guys?
They want us to try to fight them.
2v2. So we need to make it so they don't have it 2v2. At the 10-minute mark, what's the other team want to do? Invade our jungle, take our safe lane tower. So what do we try to make them not do? That. How do we do
Our
that?
shit.
By going here. Okay?
Oh my god.
So if they're the team that's stronger, and you're in 3K, and their carry is that Jug who never leaves his lane, what are we going to do?
Go to that lane.
No, we're content that he's
No.
stronger than us and let him stay there because he's not making the right play.
Oh shit.
If we know his correct play is to be down here, and he's not doing that, I'm happy. Because the reason why it's so important for me to go top is to get him out of here. So if he's already here, why the fuck am I going top? It's all about who in the game is stronger. That's all these questions require. Who is stronger? What do they want to do with that strength? Make it so that's not happening. And usually it's not done directly. Meaning, like, sometimes the answer is let's smoke gank them and kill them. Okay, like that is the answer sometimes, right? But most of the time, it's done indirectly by forcing them to be somewhere that they don't want to be. Like, that's what you do. Okay, so like when I said in that game where Monkey King was bottom, I said, like, if you think about it, their two responses are to help the Monkey King, in which case they're no longer somewhere else, or the Monkey King dies. That's like the two choices. So we have to do one of them, but if we do nothing, they're taking towers and this Monkey King's farming farming the bottom lane while the other team's taking towers. Like, so this is an example of when you're behind, how you have to play. When you're ahead, everything's so simple, because how does Dota work when you're ahead?
You just get more ahead, usually.
You just say, what do I want to do? I do it. When you're behind, you have to think what the opponent wants to do, and you have to prevent it from happening. That's, like, much more difficult, isn't it?
It's harder, yeah.
That's much more difficult.
It's not in your power to do that.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So my goal is, if you understand how to play from behind, you'll always know how to play from ahead. It's, like, so easy. Like, playing ahead's so easy. Like, the problem with this Jug is, like, in the last game, for instance, is, like, yeah, he was ahead in lane, and he didn't know what to do with it. Sometimes it just doesn't matter if you don't know what to do with it when you're ahead in lane, because your other lanes are winning. But the reason why, for him, like, if somebody in chat's wondering why it was so significant that the Jug messed up last game, it's because both of his other lanes lost, and he did the incorrect thing with his advantage. So, he lost. Like, and he threw the game. And he's probably looking at, like, God, I'm always so farmed, and my fucking teammates are just losing their fucking lanes. Like, how about you go show up to the enemy Slark's lane who's level 6 when you're level 8, you know? Like, that's the impact he can have. So if you're a support, you have to go through that thought process at 10 minutes that I told you to go through. And I don't care, honestly, if you AFK for 30 seconds just to figure this shit out, okay? Like, have you ever seen a pro match where a 5-position guy is, like, AFK and just feeds?
No.
You haven't? I see that all the time.
Really?
You've never seen a 5-position guy just walk into 3 heroes and die randomly? And you're like, what the fuck is he doing? What do you think he's doing?
Calculating.
He's thinking about shit. Like, that's all he's thinking about shit. And he just walks into the enemy team and dies, like, because he doesn't realize it. So, like, my point is, like, your job as the 5 is to think about all the things I'm telling you to think about. That's, like, why 5-position is so difficult at, like, the highest level. Because at your level, it's a little bit easier just because a lot of people are doing things incorrectly. The only difference in your tier that makes it more difficult is it's not usually in your power to punish it. It's usually like, you know, somebody like your carry if you told him to go top. If you said, like, in that case where you were shrining bottom, if you said, hey, Jug, do you mind going top? I'll take XP bottom. Maybe 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 times he'll do it. And guess what? You're winning like 5% more of your games, okay? Like, that's just, you know, maybe he'll do it. But overall, my point is, I don't actually have to see anymore. Like, I hate to say it, but, like, you know, we've gone over, but I feel like I've given a lot, and you need to work on this poll, like, because, like, people will say, you know, what do I do from here now that I'm doing all this correctly? I can't really teach you it because the game looks different, right? Like, everything, the lanes go differently, your farm's a bit more, your levels are a bit more, maybe you'll have level 6 at 10 minutes instead of 12, and the game just looks different. So we need to see what the game looks like after that. So do you have any final questions before we wrap it up, dude?
Is the itemization changed at all for, like, my starting items? Like, should I see silencers, other silencers get, like, a fucking, like, mantle and, like, a circlet or something?
Generally speaking, I just go mass regen as a 5. Like, I'll establish whether or not I need a sentry. I'd say the rule is I have a sentry. The exception is some games I don't need one. But I usually just have one. And then I just buy a bunch of regen. So, like, I think it's safe. Like, I'm saying to you, the efficiencies of these items is, like, way less important than the stuff I'm telling you. So what happens is, what will eventually happen is you'll do these pulls and you'll play the lane properly. And what if you come out of the laning stage with 3 tangos? You'll be like, oh, maybe next time I don't have to buy tangos, I can buy 2 branches. Or like whatever. That's what I'm saying is like at that point you'll may have a couple extra things and you'll be like, oh, maybe I could have tried this. Or I bought, 1 mango and 2 wards, but if I had had that second mango, this lane would have gone so much better. And so next time around you'll skimp out on that ward at the start of the game, and then you'll buy the ward at like 3 minutes after you've pulled 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Like these are examples of refining your items. But like if you're not doing the other things correctly, it's like you're trying to fix your items. It's like trying to find a cure for a disease by changing something that has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
You know what I'm
True.
saying? So
I guess.
yeah. So overall, I would think way less about your items. Like if you're gonna play 5 position every game, I think you could buy the same fucking items every single game and make it to 6K. Okay, like legitimately, I think you could easily do that. So I'm telling you not to worry about that, and that's important because Dota's really fucking complicated. So the last thing you want to do is overcomplicate it. So I'm trying to make you think about things that do matter, and let's just forget about the things that don't matter. Like eventually they do matter. Okay, like eventually, but right now they don't. So let's put those on the back burner. Any other questions you have before we call it?
Yeah, I'm on the right track. I guess that's all. I don't.
Yeah, I mean you've got obviously gained a lot of MMR. So and we've seen how much you've done wrong in the first 10 minutes, right? And if you get this first 10 minutes down, the game's going to look easier for you. You'll probably have more impact. I love picking heroes like Shaman or like Jakiro or Dazzle, heroes that like shove lanes and threaten objectives. I think you might notice that will help you a lot more in your bracket about being able to dictate shit. Because like, what if you're a Shadow Shaman support, and even though your carry's doing the wrong thing, you can like show up in the opponent's safe lane and threaten his tower with wards. That will make it so you're not as reliant on your carries to do the right thing. So that's something worth considering after you clean up some of this early stuff. If you're feeling like you're constantly struggling with your carries just never forcing objectives, maybe pick supports that can do that. So just something worth considering. But thanks for signing up, man. I appreciate it. Best